Okay, everyone. Here I am. So, we're doing this again, okay? I don't know what I'm doing still. And I start to freak out when I get in front of a camera. So, let's start with this. Welcome, everybody, to Benny Boy's broadcast with Dr. Benny Boy Benacci. I am your host, Dr. Benny Boy Benacci. So I've got a new office, and I've got my microphone, and something about me is I care so much about what people think, okay? So last year I started this podcast, and I was really excited about it. And I think that I was maybe surrounded by some people that didn't support me. And so this year, my goal is to not care. I've got so much up in here, and I fear maybe too much up in this noggin, that I can't not share. I love to share. I love to post. I love to say things. I love to express who I am. And daily, I'm just trying to figure out who I am, just like all y'all. And I kind of think that's actually like the meaning of life. But my thought is I cannot, for the life of me, sit down, read a book. I can't listen to a 1-hour educational podcast. I can hardly study for my neuro licensure, right? Okay. So here's the reality. I watch some brain rot, right? I love to scroll on TikTok. I like to watch these stupid, funny little creators on YouTube. And I decided that I think that is the new form of learning, is like this micro learning. And, you know, I started this podcast because I feel like I have a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to health and your nervous system. Like, I've been talking with people, and especially now being into practice about 2 years, there are so many things that people just don't know that I know, that I kind of assume people know. So I was like, everyone's like, go listen to Dr. Andrew Huberman, go listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza, yada, yada, yada. I can't. And I don't know why. I just don't care enough. I don't know, but I do care. I want to learn. I love learning. But honestly, I learn more from content that is stupid but oddly educational. And I've seen hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of people talk about how they learn more from a silly goofy podcast that talks about things than from like school. And especially with the plummeting of American education and the just American brain, my thought is, okay, well, how do I appeal to people? Because we have to, like, this is where I get caught up. It's not about streams and views and everyone liking me. I do love to be liked. I really care. That's one of my mottos. That's one of my goals this year, is to stop caring so much about what people think. But I can't. I'm obsessed with it. But here's the thing. If we are not speaking the language of the people, how are people going to learn? How are you going to learn? If I can't talk to you in a way that makes sense, then what are you going to do? So my goal for this podcast is to no longer do an hour of just me yapping, because that's insufferable. No one wants to listen to like one person talk. And there are very select people that I can listen to talk for an hour straight. And I think that's maybe one person. It's Brittany Broski. Because she's just so entertaining. She is in herself 800 different characters. And as much as I want to be her and be a comedian, I'm not. It's just who I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post weekly 10 to 15 minute podcasts that's a little more digestible. Give you a little update, give you a little lesson, tell you what I'm loving, see you later, right? Because one, it's kind of a way to stay connected with my people in a very digestible format, because 10 minutes, you're kind of pushing your attention span. My attention span is probably about 0.4327 milliseconds. I can't pay attention to anything, right? And I've actually been having conversations with my friends lately about how I need to figure out how to regulate my attention span. Because the reason I can't sit down and read a flipping book is because I can't sit still for an hour just doing this with my eyes. I need 800 different stimuli at the same time to feel regulated. And so part of that is, my neurodivergence journey, which we will talk about. And also part of that is just the culture we live in. We live in a world where I'm literally distracted by cars driving past me right now. Hopefully you can't really hear it popping up, but the world we live in is so stimulating. It's so overwhelming with this and that and this ad and this ad, and you can't even watch a flippin' show without seeing 800 ads for the newest $10 bullshit. So my goal, right, is to really continue expressing who I am in a way that feels really vulnerable and uncomfortable. I have a really cool friend and mentor / mentee. We teach each other a lot. And he was talking about how he really wants to grow in public speaking. So he bought Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s book of speeches. Well, he got it for Christmas, and he's going to start studying them and studying how to speak. And I was just like, holy shit, I want to be you when I grow up. That's so cool. But for me, I have kind of always just had this gift of being able to talk to people, and I really don't understand because I was diagnosed autistic this year, and through 6 hours of really intense sessions, also diagnosed with ADHD, right? Shocker, but what that means for everyone is so different. What that means for me is it's not a social piece. It can be sometimes. Sometimes I miss things. I just learned this year at the ripe age of 30 years old, it's not cool to interrupt people. I knew it was oh yeah, you shouldn't interrupt. But it's not funny. It can be, but learning the nuances of hey, you should just stop talking. So I'm still really learning how to be a human socially, for sure. But coming back to this whole speech thing, I really want to hone in just being authentic. I feel when we have so many different parts of ourselves, it's really easy to hide some of them and only present the ones that people love, right? It's called masking. And in a world that's so full of everyone just trying to be like everybody else, right? Because if it goes viral, then I can do the same video and make it go viral, right? That's TikTok. That's the generation of short format videos on Instagram and Facebook or whatever, and even YouTube now. So in this world where everyone's trying to be the same, it's not that I want to be different, I want to be special. No, it's I want to be authentic, and I want to know who I am. I want to know how I show up. There's some people that find me really funny. There's some people that I can't even make laugh. I have so many new bits. This is one of them where we talk like this, and we did these things, and we say that when I was driving here, and it's a little ASMR, and we could do some so God, what the flip am I talking about? I'm also trying to bring back my Pittsburgh accent because I have thoroughly adopted a Southern accent. I said the other day that I have to go get my oil changed, so that scared me. So now I'm saying flippin' because it's kind of like an entry word. Apparently, voice actors have entry phrases. I don't know what those are called. What are those called? It's called an anchor line. Okay, so I use flippin' because Pittsburghers love the word flippin' as my entry line to my Pittsburgh accent. Because if I say, yeah, them flippin' potholes, I can go right back into my downtown Pittsburgh accent, right? And what are you hooligans doing? Eating that Baskin Robbins when you're not supposed to be eating ice cream. okay? It's like almost southern because Pittsburgh's 15 minutes from West Virginia, which is like, I think like an exception to the South. It's like, it like arches and like kind of. Okay, one more ADHD thing, and I'm going to go on. Stranger Things. We got to talk about it this year. That's all I care about in this new year, okay? Anyways, so reeling it back in. Everybody, reel it in. Come on, do this with me. Drop everything you're doing. Reel it in like a fisherman. Like those boys on those dating apps, just reeling it in, okay? What the fuck was I talking about? Anyways, I'm going to be editing this, and I'm going to be like, hey, Benacci, you didn't finish 8 of your 9 sentences. You should probably, like, keep track. I don't know. So I'm just raw dogging this first one because, again, I'm just kind of letting my brain flow and just being who I am and talking. And then I think hopefully as I keep doing this, it'll become more and more structured. But to leave you with something, I don't know, of sustenance, I figured that I would just literally break down every little thing. Like I saw somebody talking about vitamin D, right? And like, what's the point of it? Okay. So I'm not going to do that because everybody and their moms are talking about vitamins, okay, and minerals. They're important. Yes, it's really good. But sometimes I get bored with health stuff because I live it every day. So I'm not only going to talk about health. I will talk a lot about it. It's interwoven into who I am. But I want to talk about like other things. I also found out I'm like a huge nerd, and like I'm really into Dungeons and Dragons. And like this creative, imaginary landscape that people don't dive into anymore. You know, like I think that we are losing the ability to imaginate, to create a world in which feels safe and comfortable and you're free to be yourself. Because coming back to what I was saying is we all care about what everyone else thinks. And I'm just like, God, can we just please be ourselves, please? I went on a date with this guy, and I was trying to ask him to get to know him, and I was like, oh, what are your interests? And he like couldn't give me one because he was so accustomed to people pleasing. And nothing against this guy at all, but what I'm trying to say is we live in this world where we're all trying to be like everybody else, but that is not what I want, and I don't think that's what most people want. I think most people want real, unique, like, interactions and people that have differing thought. Like, it's actually really important to have opposing thought and conflicting ideology in a conversation to make it interesting and productive. Because if you're all just in, like, a thinking tank and just an echo chamber, and there's just, like, this weird groupthink, then you're just no one's gonna think critically, no one's gonna think for themselves, no one's gonna have their own identity or personality. You're just gonna go along with what everybody else thinks? Boring, come on. So, I'm a functional neurologist, right? So I'm gonna talk about neurology and how maybe the internet is literally changing our neurochemistry. So, we have this system called the reward system. Have you heard of it? Okay. Raise your hand if you've heard of it. Good. See it. Yeah. In the name of Jesus Christ. No. That freaked me out. I can't go there. So we have this reward system that is highly based on dopamine. Okay. We've heard about dopamine. Dopamine is a very intricate neurotransmitter that actually does a lot. Dopamine's primary purpose is to actually fire a motor command. It's why all of our bodies are so flippin' fucked up, okay? We have this thing in our brain called a midbrain, okay? And the midbrain is the creation and the storage center of all dopamine, okay? The midbrain has 2 little receptors on it that receives all visual and auditory input. So, this is a prime example. When you're trying to park, who has to turn off the music, right? It's like, I need to turn down the volume to see better, right? Because it actually does affect the total input of stress into your system. So just as a flashing light would be disruptive to my orientation in the world, well, so is sound, Okay, so if I have blasting music and I'm trying to do this weird thing where I'm maybe looking back, I'm looking at a reverse camera, I'm trying to reverse into a parking spot, I'm trying to find a parking spot, right? That's a lot of searching. So any additional stimulus is going to be distracting, right? And it's going to literally decrease your awareness of the world around you. So with all this stimulation, right, it's just gonna, with the whole world that I'm talking about, right, our attention span is so short because we're getting all this information. It's because our midbrains are fatigued, right? Our midbrains are constantly being stimulated, and when you stimulate anything in the body, it makes it do more of what it does. So if I stimulate my tummy and I rub my tummy, it's going to make my tummy digest more, okay? So if I stimulate my midbrain, it's going to make my midbrain create more dopamine. So with more dopamine comes more activation of movement, right? I might twitch, or I might kick my leg. I might do who knows what. I might want to run around. I might feel crazy. I might look around and I might move my eyes and I can't focus on what I'm looking at. And I want to look at this video and that video and this video, and I want to play this video game. See, right? It's activation. So when you use it, it gets bigger. And when you use it, it becomes more proficient. So if I am getting a stimulation from a video, and then I get another stimulation from a video, and then from the cars, and then right? I don't need a long attention span to think about those things, okay? So think about how your midbrain is constantly being stimulated by the world around you. No wonder none of us can hold a relationship, right? No wonder none of us can actually sit down and read a book. It's actually such a skill. Let's what percentage? Okay, so my camera died, and I had to go find a charger, and I walked out into my bigger office with this hat on, and I ran into a coworker, and she said, "Oh, I love your hat." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And if they didn't know I was autistic, then they sure do now. Anyways, okay, so I was talking about reading. It's actually a large percentage of Americans that read. It's kind of shocking. It's about half. But that's only half. So if this country is like, 350 million people, that's only just over 150 million people reading. That's 150 million Americans not reading. That's half of society, right? And so if we think about what's going on in our world, it kind of makes sense that they're not reading, right? And they're just getting filled with the latest news that's not real anymore. I'm so sick of AI. I'm so sick of misleading and fake information and like trolling and that being funny to spread false. It just, okay. So my point is, right? We need to regulate our dopamine. We need to regulate our midbrains, right? So the way to do that is to stop stimulating it, which is painful. It is so you'll probably get anxious, right? Because the brain loves stimulation. The brain lives on stimulation, right? Especially in a world where everyone's neurodivergent. You know what's the main thing that we talk about with autism? Stimming, right? We need more stimulation because an autistic brain doesn't have the appropriate sensory, sensation, motor connection. So you might have a sensation, but you're not having an appropriate motor output, or you might need a motor output that you don't have the right sensory input. More on that later. So how do you do it? You slow down. You stop. You've got to stop. Okay, I've got to stop watching TikTok. Okay, if I can do it, you can do it too. We're going to do it together. Okay. TikTok's fun. I love to giggle. I love to hee-hee. I love to tee-hee in bed. And I kick my feet. And I just love to laugh, right? It's fun. In a world that's really flippin' serious, it's fun. And I think there's other ways to have fun, right? Why don't we sit with friends in a home with no music playing and just talk and try really hard to pay attention? It's going to be hard. I don't know. Let's meditate. Crazy. Do it for 1 minute a day. 3 minutes a day, okay? It's the new year. It's time for some New Year's resolutions. let's all slow down. 2026, the year of slowness. Okay. What is 2026? Pretty sure it's the fire horse. I'm so smart sometimes. So this last year, 2025, was the year of the wood snake, which resembled shedding. Boy, did I shed. And this year is the year of the fire horse. And I'm pretty sure the fire horse is really just like being yourself and driven and evolving and growing. So I think it's a perfect year to really dig deep. Survivor Season 50. Pretty exciting. So, okay, this is going to be my intro. I'm excited to have you. Hopefully this is more tolerable. I'm going to have some guests. I have been scheming some ideas for people that I want to bring in and put in a chair right next to me and share the space with, share this microphone with. I think it'll be really fun. I know some cool people that have been through some things, and I think talking about those things would be really important. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to do my best to do it weekly and post little clips to keep you excited. Let me know if you have any questions. Send in fan mail. I think maybe I'll do a segment where I respond to comments and things like that. I think that would be fun. Yeah. Thanks for being here, guys. I'm excited to show you more of myself and not give a flying fladoodle about what anyone thinks. I think this is the year of not having to explain yourself. I think if you just want to, you can, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. But that does not mean not showing up. I think that it is a lost art, sacrificing and showing up for people. Sometimes we have to do things we don't really want to do in order to support our community and our people around us, right? No one really wants to work, but we have to work, right? Sometimes I don't want to go to XYZ, okay? I'm going to do it because I love you, right? And it's not like the last thing I want to do. If I really don't have the energy, I'm going to be so honest, and I think there should be permission there too. But toxic therapy, speech, and this like egocentric permission that we've given people, it's gone too far. Hey, you don't got to protect your peace that much, okay? Yes, protect your peace, that's good. And not an excuse. Okay, love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Peace and blessings. Let me know if you have any questions.